Apparently, the Tigers up in Newcastle before their game on Saturday night hit the pokies. Can you talk us through that one, Hoops?
Oh, look, it's obviously been perceived as a bit of a circus, BA. So the club were up there staying in Newcastle the night before the game. A couple of the players, James Roberts and Dane Laurie, have decided to walk only a short distance, about 300 metres, to a well-known pub in Newcastle. It's one of the bigger pubs, the Great Northern Hotel. They've spent about an hour there on the poker machines. But where the issue comes into it is then the next day, there was a clear lack of effort, lack of energy in the performance. If they win, it's not headline news. But when they lose, and with the history of the club, it becomes a yarn, Kenty.
Well, because, look, the problem the Tigers have got is they're trying to fight their history, their recent history. It's a history of no success. They haven't made the finals since 2010. There are players at the club who have never played finals, who have been there all their careers and still yet to make a finals appearance. And I get players have unusual pre-game habits, and you would know, I imagine, various things that players would be up late at night playing video games or whatever they're doing. But when you are trying to change your culture and when you are trying to change around your results, you don't come up with excuses. You don't have to give yourself these outs. And that's what the Tigers are fighting against, because it doesn't look like they're doing all they can. And they might say they are, but it doesn't look like they're doing all they can to have success.
Do you know what it is? It's a complete lack of respect for the coach. That's what it is. It's an up yours to the coach. And we saw it last year with the Dragons. Players do it to Anthony Griffin.
Yeah.
With the barbecue and Paul Vaughan. What happened to Paul Vaughan, right? They got rid of him.
The other thing too, Dave, I live in the area, okay, and I am constantly have people pulling me up saying, mate, what is wrong? And they are so invested in their team, and they're so flattened by the continued lack of success at the club. It's now becoming endemic in the club. It's just, and they sit there, and the frustration that they feel, they don't believe is felt by the players as well. They don't believe that the players really care. We saw Tyron Peachy on the weekend get sin bin, walks off and gives a cheeky little smile when he's been sin binned, for heaven's sake. And so all these little things, they're only little things, but they all come together. And it turns into one big thing, and that big thing is haven't made the finals since 2010. No club has gone as long without making a finals appearance. And yet when you talk to the Tigers, it's all going okay.
Kenty, where's the five-man leadership group telling those two players not to go play the pokies?
Yeah. Well, this is the problem. There's no issue. I don't believe there's a big issue with the players doing whatever they want to do the night before. Everyone's got pre-game rituals. Everyone does whatever they want to do. Now, the issue I have is that the players put a big target on their heads. It's a Saturday night at a popular pub that is packed before you play Newcastle. Anyone who knows Newcastle, they love their footy players. You stand out like you know what, and you got the game the next day, which they're all probably going to watch. So as soon as you walk into that pub, they recognise you. They see you straight away. Now, that's okay, but if you don't perform well the next day, what do you think's going to happen? Someone's going to talk, someone's going to put you on notice,
100%.
and then you've got to go back to the rest of your playing group who are under pressure already and then explain, oh, here we are, we've got the bright lights on us again. Everyone's doing these because, of their performances, and then the pressure valve goes up, and this weekend's even more important with the distractions off field.
And the way you insulate yourself is to play well. That's the only. If you go and play well, go and play them every Saturday night.
That's right.
If that means a good performance, do that.
Speaking of players today, there are players and champion players within the game that will go and do this the night before. The difference is they'll go out knowing the result, they'll get a man of the match, or they'll contribute to the team's victory, and it doesn't become headline news. The other issue I had, Kenty, was when we started to pick the phones up today and ask people at the Tigers what their view on it was, the consensus was, what's the big deal? There's not that much in it. There was no curfew. They haven't broke any COVID restrictions. They weren't drinking booze. So what's the beef? To me, that says it all. That sums up where the West Tigers are at the moment. They've been in free fall for the last 5-6 seasons, and I don't know how they get out of it.
I've got a real problem, like serious concerns for the club. The only people at the club who know what success looks like are Michael Maguire, Tim Sheens and James Tarmo. They're the ones that can boast a premiership. Out of everybody at the club, they know what the club looks like, or what success looks like. The rest of them are still guessing. And I reckon at some point I think Sheensy's got to start saying, right, I'm here for a reason, and this, we're all going okay. is not okay anymore. Okay, they've got to sit down. They've got to say, you know what, we need to start putting some standards in the joint. We need to start a bit of a tough edge to ourselves. Back Michael Maguire to make the changes that are necessary, and start getting out there and start actually putting some bruises in their performance. Because the fact is, and I've written this tomorrow, I do not believe there is one player at this club, when Balmain or when West Tigers finally win a competition, there is not one player at the club right now who will be part of that side.
Well, Sheens was brought in to make change, but he hasn't made any change.
Well, he's still having a look, and it's very hard, Braith, to turn over. With the salary cap the way it is, it's very hard to turn over your roster. And what they've got to start looking at doing is they've got to start bringing kids through. And they've got a terrible history of letting the good ones go. You go Tedesco, Pappenhausen, and there's a stack of them that they just let walk out of the club at OK. Like these guys are all earning top dollar at the clubs they're at now, because West Tigers at one point didn't value them. Like that, there's a shocking history.
Sheens is looking for effort. That's what he's looking at. He's looking for effort in the team performance. And on the weekend, it wasn't there. Already in round 2, that's alarm bells for me. I appreciate what you're saying about the coach. You need to stick with him, Kenty. But how long do you give him? Players sign to play under a particular coach. They don't sign at a club to play under a particular CEO or chairman. They sign to play under a coach. And right now, the effort that they displayed and the up yours that they gave him by going out the night before is disrespectful to the coach.
Do you think?
And are they listening to their coach? Are they performing for their coach?
That's the question at the moment.
She's been brought in to help that, to help facilitate that. If there was a last year there was a perceived problem there, okay, and we don't know the extent of that problem. The players all deny it, the coaches deny it, but you talk to people around the Tigers, there's been indicated that at least some players had problems. The club acknowledged that by bringing Sheensy in as a general manager of football to help resolve a lot of those things, to help smooth the processes out. Hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
And there's been no noticeable change in anything at the club.
Tim Sheens has also been at pains to point out, though, he's not there to coach the side. He's not there to select the 17. He's there as a director of football, which essentially means managing everything else except game day and picking the side. So to that extent, that would also extend
the standards within the club.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
And that's the thing. Like, see, if you want to go out and have your little weird pre-match rituals, that's fine. If you're winning, you've earned the right. You've earned the right to prepare. You know, Shane Warne, God bless him, but Shane Warne, he used to have some horrific nights before he'd go out and play. But then he'd come out and he'd spin the ball 3 yards and he'd take 6 wickets and everyone would go, keep doing it then, Warnie. You know what I mean? Like, if you've earned the right, do what you like. But the Tigers, look, James Roberts copped a cork. I think it was the second set of the match. So he was handicapped from that point on. He didn't play well. He gusted out. He tried his best. But it was a bad look, given now what happened the night before. They've got to be aware of public perception and the frustration, I think, that they don't actually absorb from any of the fans. The fans sit there and just...
Do you think their roster and their lack of depth is the reason why they're not going to punish the players, or do you just think that it's... I mean, Jimmy Roberts he's struggled since he's been there.
No, they're not going to punish the players, Braith, because they don't see it as a problem.
That's symptomatic of the issues.
Yeah. They're not. I agree with what you... And then I think that maybe they're just saying that because they don't have any players that come in and take... I mean, Dane Laurie is close to their best player.
If that's the case, that's a soft option.
Well, I don't know.
I think there probably is an element of that. They've got to beat the Warriors. Like, they've lost their opening 2 games. They've got to try and get results. But the whole scenario is symptomatic of where the Tigers are at. They've been regarded from the exterior as a basket case for the last decade now. And it's not going to improve while incidents like this continue to surface.
We will see a little bit of what they're made of this weekend.
Absolutely.
Well, leadership's always been a problem there for a long time now, and they've got 5 captains. And
well, where were they, Braith? Where were they going, boys? Poor decision under the current spotlight that this club's under.
I reckon they're 5. One of them could hit the mark. It's not like they had to... Not like 2 blokes got out and had to just avoid one captain walking out of the hotel. They had 5 to avoid.
How does it end, Kenty? How do they end this?
They've got to beat the Warriors. They have to beat the Warriors.
That's it.
They've got to. I don't know.
That's the start
they've just got to toughen up. The problem is, historically, they have a plan. They'll go a year or 2 into that plan, then they think, you know what, this is not working. So then we'll go into another plan, with generally different coach, and we'll go down that route, and then it doesn't work. And they're doing it with players here and there. They've stuffed up the negotiations with the Big Four at the time, which really gutted the club. We've spoken countless times about the players who are on overs there to go there. They've got to sit down and they've got to take the long haul approach now, which is not the right, what the fans want to hear. But they've got to start investing in their juniors, and they've got to start getting some real crack 18, 19, 20-year-old kids coming through and just nurture them and do what Penrith did 10 years ago. And it's not a quick fix. No, and that's going to test the patience of everybody.
It's a big job ahead.